I do want to get to the 7-day forecast first before I go through a whole lot of stuff. So I appreciate everybody joining. Before I get going on all of that, 7-day forecast for areas of South Dakota. We do have highs in the upper 60s today for Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Thanks for joining, everybody. I appreciate it very much. I will get to all the weather risks here shortly. I'm just going to sum up my home state here of South Dakota's weather, kind of the 7-day forecast, and then I will definitely get to all of the severe weather outlooks. They just got updated at 7:45, so I apologize for being a little bit late to the show. But while you're here, if you're new or if you've been kind of wondering about, hey, well, who's this guy that's doing the weather updates? You want to go ahead and follow because we do these daily live updates every morning at 8 a.m. I'm going to say 8 a.m. ish if things are having some difficulties. Thanks, Corey. From Wicked Weather, thank you so much for the follow on Facebook. I appreciate that so much. So, we do have the 7-day forecast upper 60s. We're probably going to hit 70 today, and that blustery wind coming out of the south-southeast, bringing in some moisture, setting things up really well for areas of the plains for later today, possibly out west, and then areas of the eastern part of South Dakota and much of Iowa, Minnesota. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's dive into what we got right in front of us. Southeast winds 20 to 25. It's going to be gusting higher than that though. Winds out of the southwest on Monday, again continuing to bring in some of that moisture. Tuesday we have a little bit of a change of pace. I will get to that, Grant fella. I will get to that here shortly. So Tuesday, 60-degree weather, northeast winds. So that's when things will switch around. Wednesday, we're looking at highs in the 70s. Thanks so much for everybody joining. Thursday, we look at close to 70 degrees. And then Friday, bringing those winds out of the southwest again, and eventually the southeast, really heating things up as high pressure starts to dominate. I do think that we're going to get some dry pattern here for after these storms pass through the northern plains areas, as we do see that wind shifting out of the southeast. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Let's go ahead and go to Aberdeen. Again, 70s for today. We look at those storms expected late tonight, possibly in areas of Aberdeen. Now, I realize it says snow on Monday night. Yes, that is a possibility anytime we get below 32 degrees. Not looking good for Wisconsin Monday. Yeah, we'll get to that very shortly. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for the cool graphics, man. I appreciate that. Tuesday, Wednesday for Aberdeen area, we're looking into the 60s. We'll slowly try to warm things up. Friday and Saturday, again, looks pretty reasonable, upper 70s. Rapid City, I'm kind of rushing through this, folks, because I want to get to the latest weather information for the severe weather risks. But I apparently shut off my background here, so 1 second. All right, are you okay? All right. Rapid City, 70s for Friday and Saturday, and then we do have Pierre, South Dakota. We're expecting to see some of that storms tonight, possibly, and I'll show you that on the graphics here. But Wednesday, pretty risky as well for for Pierre, South Dakota, 42. And we do have those winds coming out of the northwest Thursday night. Are you okay, bud? Goodness gracious, you're really having a struggle today. All right, let's go ahead and get to all this. There I am. I'm sorry I missed y'all, but I appreciate it very much. Go ahead and share the live. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and get. I would love for you to show the risk for Monday. My son here is super eager to jump in and take over things. He's much like his father, unfortunately, in that respect. So I appreciate him very much, but sometimes he gets a little too jumpy. But thanks so much for, yeah. All right. So this is for today's, we're looking at today's risk. Can you give me a minute? Are you going to continue to cough? It's a little loud for, okay. All right. Here's today's risk. We do have slight risk for Sunday, and this is covering areas of Nebraska. And I'm actually going to get to the bigger detail here. There's the large swath here that we do have from the SPC. A lot of this is conditional, just be aware. It's going to be very difficult for some things to really get ramping up. Give me a minute. Okay, hold on a second, folks. My son is. Sorry, folks. My son gets a little too ramped up and sometimes give out information that's not verified yet, and so I just want to make sure that we're being careful. We don't want to fearmonger anybody. I'll have to talk to him a little bit later. So we do have that slight risk here for all the areas that are in western part of South Dakota. We even have the marginal risk, and as some of you have seen, some risks do hold true for possibility of some tornado risks in marginal risks sometimes. So let's go ahead and get over to South Dakota's risks for tornado. That area of South Dakota, 2% risk, Chamberlain, Martin, Hot Springs area. And then again, this is for the slight risk there, 2 out of 5. The wind risk, we do have Pierre, Kadoka, Phillip, Wall, Hot Springs, Martin, all those. Hail risk is more centered down by Nebraska area. So if I was going to be doing some live chasing, I would definitely be doing it there. And I'm going to get to all your guys' questions. I know day 2 people are asking about that. Definitely want to get to that. So let's go ahead and bring in the radar omega information here to have a better idea of what's expected to go on there. One moment. All right, so here's again today's graphic. We'll go ahead and take a look at day 2. It's a lot of people are really concerned about that, and I understand, respectfully understand that. Day 2 update is not going to happen until around, double check that with, usually I think it's the afternoon. All right, so we got about another 4 hours. So yeah, sometime around 1 o'clock, there will be another update for day 2. So we might do a quick brief video, but not really anything live for that. Do you think St. Francis, Minnesota will be affected? Live in Minnesota like past. All right, so a lot of you are wondering about these areas. I understand. This is for tomorrow's risk. This is Monday's risk. We're going to really focus on that. Grant Fella, they did update it early this morning, like in the day 2 risk. They updated it super early around what was it? Yeah, 12:59 in the morning. So they will focus on day 2 stuff later in the afternoon because it's not as huge. Hey, hey, Mesomat, thank you so much. Thanks so much for Mesomat. All right, let's go ahead and get to those risks right now. And we're going to show HRRR. We're going to go through today's risk real quick because we want to get through that. And again, today's risk is highly conditional. So right now, today's risks and the timing of that based on HRRR. We're going to look at that information. Michigan could be under the gun in the next couple of days, yes. Stay weather aware, and we do have daily live updates. The SPC used volatile today. Mesomat, are you referring to they use volatile today, meaning today's risk is volatile, or are you talking about uh, tomorrow? I would think tomorrow would be more of a volatile day. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Well, Mesomat, oh, tomorrow. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes more sense. Tomorrow's risk is volatile. Uh, that definitely makes more sense. It's going to be pretty impactful for tomorrow. All right. So anyhow, let's get to today's weather, folks. We're showing some risks up in South Dakota. This is going to be around 11 p.m. So again, this is highly conditional. There's going to be some cap that it's got to go past and really get things working up. So as you can see, it kind of moves and meanders. Once we get to tomorrow, I'm going to go back to a later view of, or earlier view of HRRR so I can get out a little ways into tomorrow's risks while I'm at it. All right, so let's go ahead and scan this through. Don't know why that's doing that again. 1 second. There we go. Gotta get back to 11Z. Goodness gracious. Oh, I'm in Mankato and terrified for tomorrow. Okay, Dana, if you're terrified for tomorrow, my concern for you. Oh, thanks so much, Mesomat, for helping Grant fella out. I appreciate it so much. And if you guys have not followed Mesomat, please be sure to do so. This guy is working on his meteorology degree, and he's amazing. So as you can see, midnight time frame in South Dakota, that's where it looks pretty explosive. Having a struggle today. I think it's just because I'm tired. I haven't really been sleeping that great lately. All right, so we're going to take a look at the 28th. I'm trying to get to it as quick as I possibly can, but this app is just struggling. All right. See, this is why I don't like NAM3 and I love HRRR. It shows the information a whole lot better. I'm going through tomorrow's risks um, right here, but it just doesn't show as explosive. And obviously, the reason for that is because this NAM 3K was updated at 2 a.m., whereas we have the HRRR was updated last at 8 a.m. So, plus the HRRR is more high resolution, so it can show some of those things a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and what about Texas to California? I'm a truck driver. Texas to California. Well, depends on what part of Texas you're going. If you're, um, anywhere Texas to California, slight risk here along Pampa and Amarillo, Lubbock area. We already got a chaser down there um, that is set up really well. I'll give you the risks for today. Tornado risks are there. I got to focus on just today. My ADHD brain wants to go right away over to tomorrow because that's the bigger risk, but there's just not enough information to support all of it. All right, I'm looking at significant tornado parameters for today's risk. This is brown is the 5% risk outlined by the SPC, and the green is the 2% risk. Amarillo area around 1 p.m. So if you're going along I-40, trucker, you might want to be careful. Definitely want to be staying weather aware. Also, possibility of a few brief spin ups north of Garden City, Kansas. Can't confirm that, but definitely some significant tornado parameter information there. If those caps can break, this is what it looks like around 6 p.m. A little bit more energy likely. Let's take a look at energy actually. What are you using to find all this information? Well, what I'm using, I utilize SPC information, Storm Prediction Center information. The models are not handling the dry line well. Yeah, that's what I was kind of figuring. And yesterday it seemed like it was struggling with HRRR as well for a little while. All right, so let's take a look at the cap of the atmosphere. So this is looking at surface-based SIN at 6 p.m. We'll bring this back a little bit. Timing for La Crosse, Wisconsin. La Crosse, Wisconsin, that's going to be tomorrow. I'll have more of an update for tomorrow's update at 8 a.m. because it's so far out. These weather models right now are really struggling. So I wish I could go into there. I would say it's going to be the timing of that as of right now would say that that would be sometime in the afternoon. So anyhow, we're looking at, let's go back to this here. Yep, there's a lot of cap going on this morning, seen by all of this right here. And it's going to have a struggle with all that cloud cover to really get going until late. It looks like sometime after 3 o'clock in areas of Nebraska. Take a look down here. Lubbock area a little bit earlier. So yeah, I would say the southern storms are likely going to get uh, going a lot sooner than the northern storms. Amarillo's tornado risk, that's a 5% today, Robert. Is Nebraska going to get some weather? Well, they're definitely going to get some weather, especially for tomorrow. There is that possibility late tonight, that things could, um, if they break through the cap, we could end up seeing some storms in western part of Nebraska and eventually over to eastern part of Nebraska. But the eastern part of Nebraska is more so for tomorrow. Don't be scared. Be informed, Jarrett. Uh, give yourself as many tools as you possibly can. SPC, NWS, National Weather Service. Look at weather.gov and dig down into all the wonderful tools that they have free for the public. Um, and inform yourself and arm yourself with as much information as you possibly can with valuable, reliable information. Okay. Kansas City tomorrow. I'm not able to kind of go through that right now because we're focusing right now on today's risks. But again, this is the latest information that we have from SPC. 5% risk for tornado activity all along this whole entire area. So Kansas City, it's west of you for the risk for tornado activity. What is the tornado activity for tomorrow? All right, so here we go. We're gonna get everybody going crazy on here now, like freaking out. Don't freak out, people. Just be informed. That's the main thing. This is for tomorrow. This is the information that was updated at 12:59 a.m. from the Storm Prediction Center. This is a significant severe hatched area. These are the risks for tornadoes. Okay, so this is one of the biggest areas for tornado activity that I have seen in quite some time. We even have a huge area, significant, and to use the words uh, that the Storm Prediction Center mentioned this morning, certainly a volatile environment for tomorrow. And I would love to show you the information to support exactly the timing of this. Unfortunately, the weather models are really struggling to show all that information. So we may have to do another update here tomorrow. Well, we'll definitely be doing another update tomorrow. Thanks so much. Iowa tomorrow, as you can see here, these areas in the red are in the highest risk for tornado activity. Likely going to be sometime in the afternoon. So just stay weather aware. I'll show you a NAM 12K estimate. This was updated at 2 a.m., so just be aware. This is just one weather model, so it doesn't mean that this is all going to come true for the timing wise, but arm yourself with as much information as possible. So this looks like 7 p.m. Obviously, I think this is having a little bit of a hard time, like Mesomat said, to really struggling with that. And areas of Shakopee and St. Paul area around 10 p.m. But again, this is just struggling to show that in the weather models. I believe this is definitely going to be an afternoon event, but this weather model is showing that it's going to be later in the day. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Thanks so much for sharing the live. You live in Altoona, Iowa. Very nervous. Don't be nervous. Just be informed, people. Stay informed. Stay weather aware. Use your reliable sources. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. And thanks for the gifts. I appreciate those as well. Go ahead while you're here. Tap that screen. Tap, tap, tap. That will help with the algorithms and also help in some ways to be able to get this information to others as quickly as possible. So as you can see, the NAM 12K really struggling there to show that. Let me see if I have another update from HRRR. Again, we're looking at the tornado risks for tomorrow. Remind folks of the risks for today. And I'm focusing primarily on the tornado risks. It looks like up in Dickinson, North Dakota, we do have possibility of some spin-ups there. Very isolated though. So where y'all from? Okay, Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois. I can so southeast Minnesota and Kansas City for tomorrow. Please go ahead and follow. I'll try and get to those as quickly as I can, but unfortunately, the weather models, as I've stated here, are having a struggle with showing the volatile in the word that Storm Prediction Center is using, volatile day for tomorrow. So it's really struggling to show that. Let's go ahead and shut these risks off so that we don't get too mixed up with all that. So I'm going to just show you a timeline with HRRR here, and we'll go out as far as it's going to let us. This is kind of where we're thinking. Pure South Dakota, expecting some development in the early morning hours, 3 a.m. And down here in areas of Lubbock, again, this is just one weather model, folks, so just be mindful of that. This would suggest that it's really having a hard time showing that. So all of the other ingredients are there. So these weather models right now are really struggling with trying to show what exactly is going to. So I'm probably going to end up doing an afternoon weather briefing, not live, but when we get the some more of the weather model information updated. Again, the time up top is Central Daylight Time. Illinois, I'm covering that right there. Doesn't look too impressive at this point, but I do want to remind you for tomorrow, Illinois, you are in the enhanced risk, slight risk, and then depending on how far south you are, down to Springfield, you're in the marginal risk for tomorrow. And I have been seeing this thing shift eastward. So there's a possibility that this enhance could get farther east. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, Morgs 4. Great. Glad you're prepared in southern Minnesota, considering keeping my kids home tomorrow, too. Oh, wow. Not sure if I would do that, but that is your choice. Could get pretty explosive around 7 p.m. in Twin Cities area, be St. Paul. A little bit of a QLCS up here. All right, and it's really struggling to have those southern storms until way later. So this is starting to look into the 29th, but again, these weather models are really struggling to show that, and I'm truly believing, and let me kind of show you why I believe that we're going to have some explosive stuff here for tomorrow. Let me shut these off, and I'm going to show you the dew points. I'm going to show you kind of the trough, if you will. All right, let's go through this with HRRR here. One moment. Appreciate y'all joining. Sarah's #1 viewer right now. Lee Crawford, #2. Michael's #3 spot. Thanks so much for sharing that. Please go ahead and tap that. Get the hearts a going and the likes. I appreciate that so much. All right, so we're looking at the dew points here from today or tonight rather. And what I want to show you is the differences here. I've shown people this before, and it's pretty significant. So we got 18-degree dew point there, barely could see it, but that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Again, these are estimates. 58-degree dew point. So just between those areas there, that's where it looks to be, you got that moisture line right here, and then that dry line coming through right here. So that's why I believe Iowa is, as well as Minnesota, eventually is going to have some pretty significant severe weather still. But it's again, HRRR is having a struggle showing that information up on there. And even areas right here by Sioux City, we got a 30, 20 some degree dew point, 58-degree dew point. So some of these areas that around Storm Lake and Lamar's Sioux City area, that's a lot of dry, cooler air moving on in, and right during the heating of the day. Could definitely see it get even more impressive of a difference here. Des Moines, 62, and we have 30-degree dew point. So that's pretty crazy around 7 p.m. If we look at the, I don't want to freak you out all, but let's go ahead and take a look at bulk shear, one of the ingredients that's needed for some spin ups, some possibility of tornadoes. We'll take a look at the shear and see how many knots that is at. One moment here while it loads. All right, so 28th. A lot of bulk shear right here for early morning hours. But that's a reason why these storms for today are going to really not expect to get explosive until later in the evening hours, because by the time the shear shows up, the heating of the day is kind of gone. All right, so this shows Des Moines area 43 knots, St. Cloud area, goodness, 40 to 50 knots. That's pretty large, impressive shear. 50 knots down in southwest part of Oklahoma. Thanks for the follows. I appreciate that very much. Let's go ahead and bring this back to composite reflective so we can kind of show some of these areas. Southwest end of Indiana. Again, this is latest information that we have from HRRR weather model. Missouri, based on this update, I'm going to cover some of these states here. We'll do some scans. Okay, this is showing it's only able to go out to the 29th, but again, Oklahoma area, Bartsville area, about 1 a.m. on the 29th. This is really having a struggle picking up all this down in the south. Texas area. Almost feel like I shouldn't have gone live until there was an afternoon update. Abilene area, 9 p.m. possible hail, if that comes and holds true. All right, so areas of Sioux Falls, kind of want to, that's my stomping ground here. So that's kind of where I'm looking at that. 3 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, now we're seeing something to return. Go back to this one here. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. Let me look at the significant tornado parameters here. 1 second. All right, this would suggest significant tornado parameters is suggesting, and that doesn't mean that there's going to be a significant tornado. It just means that the elements are there. Ingredients 2.3, a low, but it is still there. These are higher up here for probabilities of tornadic activity for tomorrow. And then if we move this along, you're going to be able to see things in Iowa really ramp up. Ames, Iowa. These are significant tornado parameters showing a lot of the elements are there around 2 p.m. This shows it a little bit better. Rockford, Illinois. All right, so look at these significant tornado parameters around Eau Claire. This is around 6 p.m. You can see the time up there. So it just basically tells me that all the parameters are there, or almost all of them are there. It's just some of these weather models are having a difficult time picking that up. Eau Claire, look at that. Oof. Duh. So if you live in the northwest part of Wisconsin area, you're in for quite the light show as well as quite the weather event based on that information anyhow. Rockford, Illinois area, it looks to be likely more in the overnight hours for Rockford, Illinois. All right. This wasn't as much information as I had hoped to give y'all. Part of it is because you just got to wait on these weather models, and so I wanted to make sure that I was staying consistent with my updates. That certainly helps. This is looking at the 28th at midnight. Significant tornado parameters there over by western part of Kansas. Could be a pretty interesting overnight in areas of Nebraska. So stay weather aware. The thing I hate about overnight storms is when we have those overnight storms, you can't hear the sirens. So make sure that you have a weather radio to keep you alert because you can't hear those sirens sometimes inside when you're trying to sleep. So the main concern I have for today is is the overnight storms. If those overnight, one thing to kind of mention is if the overnight storms in the Nebraska area and we still end up having all that cloud cover for much of the day for the 28th, then things could end up having a little bit of a struggle. Let's take a look at Cape. That is the energy. How much energy is there in the atmosphere? Thanks for joining, everybody. I appreciate it. Tap, tap, tap. All right, so the joules per kilogram, there is quite a bit of CAPE in a lot of energy for the overnight hours. That's a lot of energy at 4 o'clock in the morning. Even down here into Oklahoma, as well as Amarillo area, a lot of energy still there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And more of that energy comes through around 2 o'clock. So with 3,500 joules per kilogram, that's a lot of energy. And with some of that bulk shear coming in there, there's still ample enough ingredients to be able to make this pretty explosive day for tomorrow. Even though the weather models are having a hard time picking up all of that information, some of these other tools that we have are able to pick that up. A lot of energy through this whole area. All right, I'm going to let y'all go. It's kind of getting a little bit too crowded in here with all this. Did it go enhanced today or still just slight, Josh? No, it's not enhanced. It's still just slight. There is that tornado risk for today to remind folks. And this is a live look at the radar. We got 61 degrees out in western part of Kansas, 59-degree dew point. Let me take a look at the satellite imagery and see how much we have for cloud cover. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cloud cover. Oofda. Let me shut these risks off. A lot of cloud cover, so I do start seeing some clearing over by western or eastern portions of Colorado. And it looks like maybe around the Great Bend area, trying to get some clearing. Amarillo, you're still stuck behind all those clouds. There is some clearing over in Dallas. So that's likely going to help fuel some storms up in the Amarillo area later today. But a lot of cloud cover dealing with, so that's part of the reason that these storms are going to take a little while to fire up for today. All right, I'm going to let you all go. Thanks so much again. Sophie ended up being the top viewer. I appreciate that so much. Lee Crawford, 103, number 2 spot, and Tamara Kern. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. I'll have an afternoon video update. I won't be doing a live this afternoon unless some severe weather really gets rolling. Fort Dodge, what time? Let's go ahead. Since there is some engaging stuff now, Kristen, thank you so much for the question. Just went through another scan, so I do need to go through the 12Z. Nothing for Fort Dodge today, but that's going to be tomorrow's risk, so I'll put that up here for you. Fried chicken fingers. I need to know where you're talking about. All right, Fort Dodge area, you're in the moderate risk. And then as far as the tornado risk for tomorrow, you're smack dab in the middle of that red zone, danger zone. Thanks, Tamara Kern. Thanks so much for the me's. I appreciate it. Marissa, you're in La Crosse area. Goodness gracious. Okay. Yeah, you guys are going to be, um, yes, less intense than expected in southeast Iowa tomorrow. I don't know. I have a feeling that that is going to change with the afternoon update. We'll have to see, Roger. Cedar Rapids timing. Whoa, now we're getting engagement. I wasn't getting anything. Either that or my live is going kind of crazy. We're getting engagement. For a while there was like nothing going on. Now everything's lighting up when I tell everybody, okay, I'm gonna go. It's coming up from Florida to. Oh, that's my wife. I gotta let you guys go. If I don't answer my call to my wife, I'll do another afternoon update, video update. That way I can get to that. I'm sorry for leaving you all hanging, but some of these weather models are having a struggle. So I'm going to let you go. God bless. Stay safe. And we'll do another update here later today, but it'll be a video update.